the higher echelon as far as getting stuff on the air. He wasn't in that group. He was in a group with the interns because he didn't contribute. I don't even think he had it set up at his house. He just didn't care. He came in, did his job as least as he could, and never contributed anything as far as writing or submitting notes to Howard, because I assume it's because it hurt his ego too much when sometimes you'd write 5 or 6 ideas in one night, or someone who was a writer, someone who actually gave a shit about the show, someone who loved the show and wanted to make their mark. You'd put in 5 or 6 ideas a day, and Howard would respond to them. If he responded to them, he said, send this to guys, let Fred and Jackie punch it up if that's what was needed. If you like the idea, bring it up in the meeting, blah, blah, blah. That was something that John never knew because he never contributed anything. All right. Now, I'm not saying that when he was working the phones, he had an area right up front on the top where he could write in if he had a joke, a one-liner or something like that. And to his credit, there were times that Howard would read what John wrote. And of course, whenever that happened, John in the back room with all the interns, everybody back there, he'd take a look to see if Gary was over there, if Gary was listening, because, he knew he couldn't act like that or do the John show when Gary was there, because Gary would yell at him. That's not what we're doing, John. We're doing a show here. It's not about you. So if he ever got a joke on, I wrote that, to the interns, nobody gave a fuck. It was a fucking one-liner. And then there were other times where Howard would say, why is John writing me one-liners when I'm on the air? It's distracting. John, answer the phone. Tell me the person's name, where they're from, what they want to talk about, and what line they're on. That's all I need from you. The story ends like this. I'm not going through the whole thing again, but he gets an idea and he sends it to the right channel, which happened to be me. And if I thought it was something that Howard would like, I would forward it to Howard. And only the best stuff got through because it was a reflection on me. I wanted to do a good job. So after 2 days, he writes it, say Monday night. Tuesday, during the show, hours later, 6 hours later, Case, did you read my song parody? I said, no, John. After the show, I'll be reading the new ones that come in. So the next day comes in. Hey, did you read my? Because he saw that it didn't get forwarded. Did you read my song parody? I'm like, yeah, John. I wasn't a dick, but I must have said something like, I think we've done something quite like that a little bit a couple weeks ago. It's a little bit similar. But hey, good try though. I thought some of it was funny. And you could just see him boiling. So the next day, he goes, why don't you just forward my idea to Howard? I'm like, John, look, man, they hired me to do a job. I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm sure the next one you sent to me, I'm sure that's going right through. I'm sure that's going to get produced. I'm sure of it. So during a break, after Gary does his thing, after I do my thing, John decides to overstep me, thinking that I didn't appreciate his gold song parody. So he goes, hey, Howard, I wrote this thing in case he hasn't forwarded it to you. I don't know why he hasn't. I thought it was a great idea. Did you get a chance to see it? And Howard goes, well, if you wrote something, John, you know how the system goes here, right? Casey is kind of like an assignment editor. He will read everything that comes through. There's a lot of stuff that comes through here, John. So why don't you send it to Casey again? Why don't you send it to Casey again? Not send it to me and I'll look at it. No, send it to Casey again. So I think he knew, but yet, John, his ego is just too big to take a loss and to realize that this is set up this way for a reason. So I, after I had that conversation, the next break at the end, I print it out and I walk in there, and I go, "Hey, Howard, um, I thought, you know, I've made mistakes before. Maybe you see some merit in this. I'm not trying to give anyone special attention, but I know I'm going to hear it." And Gary starts laughing. And Gary's like, "Yeah, I saw that too," because Gary would see everything I saw. Gary's like, "Yeah, let Howard read that. Why don't you just give it to him?" So Howard reads it, crumples it up, and he throws it in the garbage. He goes, "Is he bothering you with this? Don't let him do that to you. He bullies everyone around here." Because, Casey, you're doing a good job. You're hired, not him, for a reason. And that made me feel awesome. So John never apologized for going over my head. He was embarrassed. So that song parody never got on the air, never saw the light of day. It's sort of waste paper basket. Howard put it there. Yeah, that stopped his crazy writing. Yeah, he'll tell you it's bullshit, but I ain't lying to you. I got no reason to. And that's the truth. Ruth.